Hello everyone. This Sunday in St. Luke's Gospel we have his Sermon on the Plain, which is his parallel to St. Matthew's Sermon on the Mount, which is more often talked about and used at weddings and funerals, and we hear it more often. But St. Luke tries to do something a little bit different in this sermon of Jesus, in this preaching of Jesus. St. Matthew always tries to place Jesus as a new Moses, which is why he goes up onto the mountain to preach these Beatitudes that parallel or renew the 10 Commandments that Moses received on Mount Sinai. And then he goes up on the mountain to preach because going up on the mountain is a symbol of authority. Jesus speaks as one who has authority. But St. Luke does something different. It's the Sermon on the Plain. And not only that, just before he starts speaking to the disciples, it says he looked up at them. So even on the plain, he placed himself lower. Then we hear from the mouth of Jesus in Luke's words, "Blessed are the poor, blessed are the hungry." Unlike St. Matthew, who says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness." St. Luke makes them much more concrete and tangible in this life, whereas St. Matthew is talking about more spiritual realities. And then to conclude, St. Luke adds the woes at the end. Woe to you who are rich, woe to you who are satisfied, woe to you who laugh now. And so what is he doing in all of this? Well, St. Luke's gospel is widely acknowledged as the one who most acknowledges the marginalized, those who are poor. And so Jesus does that intentionally. And what way does he do that? He brings himself down to their level. Not even that, he looks up. He has mercy on them. He shows them compassion, suffers with them. But then when we get to all of the declarations, the blessings and the woes, being really concrete, it would be easy to be confused as to, well, is rich and laughing a bad thing? Is it a sinful thing to laugh and to have money in this life? No. But it can be dangerous to be comfortable. And I think that's part of what Jesus is trying to acknowledge. Pope Benedict is quoted as saying, "We are made not for comfort, but for greatness." And in the blessings and the woes, Jesus is pointing his disciples to the greater gifts, as St. Paul tells us in his letter to the Corinthians. Strive for the greater gifts. That in the lack, in the suffering of being hungry or poor and weeping, there's a space there left for God. Now, that doesn't mean that just because you're poor or just because you're hungry, you automatically seek God. We know that's just not true. But in that human suffering is a natural openness to the divine, to not being able to rely on self anymore, which when we are rich, when we are satisfied, when we laugh in joy, it's much easier for us to rely solely on ourselves. Which is why as Catholics, we intentionally make ourselves uncomfortable from time to time to remind ourselves to not rely on self, but to rely on God alone. It's the reason why we have penance every Friday, where we abstain from meat. And if we don't do that, we intentionally take up an extra act of devotion or an extra intentional act of charity. It's why in just a few weeks we will start Lent, this great season of fasting and abstinence, to make us uncomfortable intentionally so that we don't fall into those woes of self-dependence, but that we seek the greater gifts, the blessings that come from God alone and not from ourselves. And so may God bless you who are poor in spirit, who are hungry and thirsting for righteousness, to seek those greater gifts. God bless.